Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm okay, getting over a cold. So, those of us watching on YouTube can enjoy my red nose from blowing it 4,000 times yesterday.
There's nothing redeeming about the common cold or
Yeah.
the uncommon
So,
cold.
and I kept wanting to, I was like, certainly this can't be a cold. I took like every test possible and it's just a cold.
Like
But
would you feel more dignified if it was not, if it was something elevated?
I wanted it to have a name because I've missed out. Like work stuff's fine. I could just say I'm working from bed today. I'm not on Zoom, but I think I've talked about this. I teach mahjong at our club, and most of them are retired. And I feel like this. I was supposed to teach yesterday, and that was the third one in a row I missed because of this cold. But they're all like most of them are older, and like I could
Right.
tell I was getting sick last week, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't want to risk getting an 80-year-old sick with something.
Right.
And so, but like yesterday when I canceled for the third time, I was like, they must think I'm lying. Like I just wanted to be able to say like it's flu B.
Right. Right. Here's the strip that says something, or
Yeah.
that's funny. These whippersnappers never showing
Of
up to
course
their
it's like totally
mahjong.
it's volunteered and
Yeah.
you know,
Aw.
no one's paying me, but I just felt bad.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had that feeling of like, oh, again, I'm missing stuff.
Yeah.
I think because I work from home. So my exposure is probably very limited. And like you said, I can still work if I'm sick. But having to cancel, yeah, that would make me extra pissed, especially Mahjong.
I feel like I'm gonna make it there tomorrow for my
I feel
Friday
like you are
afternoon
too.
session. Yeah. Feeling
I'm
good.
sending good vibes your way.
Thank you. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was a post I saw, and I don't mean to call out this. I mean, I kind of mean to call out this post specifically because I will be calling out this post specifically, but this is not the first time I've seen this sentiment and heard people talking about it. But I guess I'll just read part of it. So it's from Joe Galeazzi, who's one of the co founders and co CEOs of Viral Nation. And so he says the creator economy has reached a transformative moment driven by entrepreneurship and ownership rather than mere influence. He talks about Mr. Beast exemplifying this shift, turning his Feastables chocolate brand into a $250 million business. He talks about Emma Chamberlain's Chamberlain Coffee, Alex Cooper's Unwell, Logan Paul's Prime, talks about Alex Earl's investment into Sip Margs, a bunch of other things. So he's saying that he says the lesson is unmistakable. Creators have evolved into powerful founders, leveraging built-in distribution channels, deep audience connections, and strong authenticity. The next wave of market leaders will merge influence with ownership to redefine brand building for years to come. And I like on the one hand, sure, like yes, those people have been very successful, but to look at Mr. Beast and Alex Cooper and Alex Earl, I don't know why all these women are named Alex, and Logan Paul,
Hmm.
like to me, this is more a trend in commerce.
Hmm.
So if you're gonna bring a new brand to market, it makes sense to align it with a big name. To me, this is not a trend in influencer marketing. These people are at the very, very tippy top of a pyramid that most brands could not even begin to even come close to afford to working with them. We work with thousands of influencers every year. None of them are going to be able to start a coffee brand that's going to make a ton of money. Like this world where someone has that built in distribution and that built in trust and an audience of millions, that's not what your average influencer looks like.
Right.
I have so many feelings, but what's your
I
initial
don't even think
take?
it's new. I don't think this is new. Think about the way that you just framed it. I'm thinking about shopping at Kohl's and seeing Jennifer Lopez, Daisy Fuentes, Jessica Simpson, forever and a day, commerce retailers, bless you,
Thank you.
have been, she's not faking it. She's really not. They've been
Excuse me.
aligning with celebrities to make this quote unquote like marriage made in Hollywood. And so, okay, now I think what we're just seeing is that influencers are clearly rising to the level of celebrity, which is also not new. And you and I both started and still probably both focus maybe somewhat on food. We saw this play out in the cookbook industry and the food writing industry
Right.
10, 15 years ago, where suddenly if you wanted to get a cookbook published, or you had an idea, what did your platform look like? What was the size of your audience? And the notable name that came out of that for me is Pioneer Woman, Ree Drummond. She was way back,
Right.
the sort of OG that burst out of just the influencer layer into stardom, into diversifying her revenue streams, into franchising or merchandising. So it's not new, it's not remarkably innovative. I don't see anything new here. And to your point, it's not even that widespread.
No. But I think part of what makes me crazy about this, I'm going to apologize now because I'm going to be sneezing a lot of times. My tickle came back. One of the things that makes me really crazy about this is that it puts an unfair expectation on your average influencer who might create amazing content and do a fabulous job creating sponsored posts, has an audience that's engaged. Maybe it's not millions strong, but is doing a great job. To think that they could or should be launching a brand of some kind of, I think it puts an unfair expectation on them. And I think it's also kind of continues this misunderstanding that influencer belongs at the bottom of the funnel.
Right. No, I'm sorry.
This expectation that influencers are bottom of funnel and that they can all sell something. And we've talked about this ad nauseum on so many episodes. Not every influencer is great at that, and that's okay. Like there's a tremendous power in being part of the top of funnel awareness piece.
Yes.
Of the marketing cycle, the sales cycle, and like this pressure that all influencers need to be able to sell something with an instant click is just it's not fair. And I was saying to you in our little pre-chat, we get pitches all the time from companies who want the influencers in our network to brand stuff. Like it's often, I think I've gotten from a few different white label coffee companies, who insist that I'm going to become so rich by giving this opportunity to all of our influencers, and they'll all be selling their own branded line of coffee, and then we'll get a commission off of this, and everyone's just going to be like retired on the beach in a year.
Also means they don't understand your business model at all. It's not that I even balk about that idea, because in my mind, I'm playing this out that a really savvy marketer at a white label, I mean, frankly, brands are doing fun stuff like that, like letting influencers or celebrities have a takeover of the brand or something. So right. I think there's a way to play that.
The QSR companies do a great job of that, like McDonald's.
Yeah. Right. But that's not that's not an influencer marketing agency's specialty. That should be the agents and the creators and the marketers. It just seems like a whole different, which to your point goes back to we're still confusing what influencers really do. I think what gets lost that's so important is the know, like, trust factor that influencers provide. It is gold to brands, and brands will take 10 times as long to build that same know, like, trust factor with their consumer audience that the influencers already have. So now I think there's a deeper or a side issue at play here, but I don't want to lay that over yet. But let's get back to it. Why I think these brands and these pundits are thinking that this is an influencer play.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, I think it's a commerce play, not an influencer play. To your point, it's really just a tweak of stuff that's happened all along. Like there's always been, I'm trying to think of stuff from the 80s, but
Martha Stewart.
I mean, Newman's Own. Mm-hmm. Like there's, it's not new to use celebrity to sell.
Look at the Wheaties box.
Right.
The Wheaties box. Olympic.
I mean, maybe what's new here is that these are people who became famous through social media, whereas before it was people who became famous through traditional media. And so that's what's new and exciting. It's fun that most of these influencers are young and they're reaching a younger audience, and they came up through social media. And certainly there's things that they have, there's tools they have at their disposal to help market the brand that didn't exist with the Paul Newman or the person who's on the Wheaties box. Back when we were buying Wheaties in 1983, whoever was on the box wasn't, Wayne Gretzky wasn't posting it on his Instagram. He didn't have an Instagram.
He didn't even have a newsletter.
He
He
didn't
didn't
even
even have email.
Wayne Gretzky. I was like, sports person, Reggie Jackson, anyone, right?
Yes.
So, yes, is there something new here? Yes. What's new here is that influencers are the new celebrity. Again, I would argue that was new 5 years ago. That's not new in 2025.
It's not innovative either.
Yeah.
And I think this is a piece that we're not probably getting right at the heart of yet, which is there is a pressure that I'm hearing from different corners of our industry, especially leading into Nimbus, where I've been talking to brands and agencies about their pain point. There is a pressure point around figuring out what's going to be the next big thing, or how to break out of more traditional models of running influencer campaigns, which is a fair enough challenge to tackle. I want to marry that to the idea that in 2024, and again this year, brands were notably tapping influencers for Super Bowl ads, but those Super Bowl ads, by and large, looked like every other Super Bowl ad. So there's still this, let's take what influencers do and social media to some extent and repackage it into traditional models and call it new. It's not new, and it's not honoring the ecosystem that influencers come from. So let me link that back to Mr. Beast, because he just put out a game show or something on Amazon.
Yeah.
That depending on the day and what you looked at, the reviews were, this is tanking and it's terrible, or this is the best thing I've ever seen and my 9-year-old can't get enough of it, which clearly means that we're not always speaking the same language, even about what's innovative in the influencer world. But I think the shocking thing about his show was it was more lucrative, and maybe the Feastables is more lucrative than his YouTube channel ever was. Something going on there. I don't think brands are yet totally comfortable with how to innovate around working with influencers.
Did you see Leah just did a whole interview with her about it? I'm going to get her name wrong, so I'm going to look it up to get it for you exactly. But it was a food writer who used to work for Bon Appetit, Carla Lally Music. So she's a cookbook writer. She used to work for Bon Appetit. She's great on video. She had a YouTube channel for a while.
Yes.
And she stopped doing it.
Because the production demands.
She was losing money. She was losing $10,000 a month. And Mr. Beast said something similar, that he was running at a loss for that. And so I don't even know the point I was trying to get at here, but you need other ways. It's just one part of the ecosystem.
Right.
And not every influencer can afford to have loss leaders.
Right. And this is the foundational piece that I'm glad you brought up. In 2010 and 2012 and 2014, it was clear that influencers in general needed to understand how to leverage whatever was happening for them on social media in other ways. The cookbooks, the bylines in a newspaper when that existed, the television shows, the Food Network shows, if we're talking about food and beverage. So it is a two-way street. And I do agree that influencers would be wise to diversify. But that's a business move. That's not an influencer move. That's a larger hat. So how do you take what you're doing in the influencer world? Do you sell merch on your website when we still had websites? Affiliate marketing. Remember when affiliate sort of started weaving into sponsored posts, and we had to be like, wait, you can't maybe do both in the same post. Right. What are you doing? But it was just an avenue for how can I maximize my presence while I've got my presence. And then the algorithms really muck everything up because they've changed so much day to day. So I think it's an age-old, or at least 15, 20-year-old question of how to take the influencer moment and leverage it into something else. Everybody's doing their best, but to say like, oh, those 4 celebrity influencers who are nailing it are some kind of blueprint for how everybody else should do it is wild.
And I think, like, I mean, maybe this is like the socialist in me coming out, but it just also feels very unfair to the vast majority of people who are putting content out there. Like to hold this up as this example of what you should be doing. Like, it's just not, it's not a thing. Yeah.
Right. It's a mirage. It's a mirage. And I would wonder how many of those folks, and maybe this is not even on point, you can tell me I'm barking up the wrong tree, but how many are now infused with private equity so that they don't even own their own likeness or image or brand or whatever. And again, that number behind it, Mr. B's selling $250 million or it's valued at or whatever. Maybe that's funny money. Maybe that's funny numbers that really it's all somebody else has the equity. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, is that what anybody who has a specialty in talking about how to cook for your kid who has gluten allergies or how to have the best wellness routine, or linking back to a couple episodes ago, the bladder leakage protection product that you've used, which one you like the best? How do those things, connect is a little muddy and probably misrepresented.
So when I launch my Danielle bladder leakage pads next week, you're not going to buy one.
Because it's you, I will support you. I'd rather have cookies, but okay. And, we're not going to, I'm going to state this up front. We're not going to get to this question in this episode, but the compensation piece also probably has a lot to do with this assumption that of where influencers fit in that pipeline. And
well, it's the exact same thing as all these inbounds that we get promising these crazy high commissions that are going to make our influencers millions of dollars, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying like, okay, we're not going to pay you, but you get to put your name on our coffee and you're going to make so much money. Like it just feels like another way to not pay someone for doing work.
Right, which ultimately probably means you don't understand what their value is. I mean, affiliates are a thing, but they're not influencers. I mean, they're different, related. Again, not today.
Different.
Not today, Casey.
Yeah.
We won't open that can of worms either, but they're related. And okay, so you're coming back to, though, it's that you don't like the pressure that puts influencers under.
Yeah, the whole thing just made me feel squicky.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I had that happen recently when somebody put a post out that said the best influencers do XYZ, and it listed out all of these things that the influencer they had worked with did for free. Like it was for a free sample of pots and pans, maybe $600 worth, which is not chump change. They're nice pans, maybe, whatever. But that each creator who had received it had done 6 videos, or no, sorry, a dozen videos or something crazy. And I really went a little nuts on that post because I don't want the impression to be the best, you have to do that. Right. But I think I'm trying to give the original poster the benefit of the doubt, that I think he was saying when you find the best influencer, they will naturally maybe add
but
value
for a
that
gifting
way.
program, like I remember sitting at, I think it was Evo. Do you remember Evo conference?
Yeah.
One of the old school blogging conferences.
I thought that came back. Did it not come back?
No, Jill's doing, I don't know what Jill's doing. We chat. She's doing like consulting and stuff.
Okay, cool.
Not conferences. But it was at an Evo conference. This was probably 2011. And I remember I was on a panel and I had just started Sway. And I was on a panel talking to a room full of influencers, giving them advice on negotiating. And I said, don't work for a free refrigerator. Ask for the money and buy the refrigerator your own damn self.
Yeah.
And things have changed these days.
But that's more true than ever in some ways. Because you'll end up owing money on the refrigerator.
Right. I mean, but if you think about your example that you just gave, that it's $600 and something worth of pots and pans, and they were doing 12 posts, that's $50 a post. Who's doing content for $50? Like, what is the value of your time? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I say, I wrote a newsletter about this last week. Someone asked me, like, what's a good idea for an emerging brand who wants to have some kind of, who wants to do influencer work in some kind of way that there's like incentive for the influencers just because they're small and their budgets are limited. And
Okay.
I think there's things that you can do, but it's super tricky when you're just providing product, when there's some kind of incentive, like you lose control. They don't have to post it. Maybe they're going to post 12 times and it's terrible.
Right.
Maybe they're spelling your brand name wrong. Like, but when you're not, when you don't have a contractual agreement with a like actual dollar monies, changing hands.
Yeah, you lose power.
Yeah.
You lose power, you lose control, which does take us back into the let influencers do whatever they want with your brand. And you and I both think there's degrees of accuracy there, but not carte blanche.
Right.
There's ways to do that. Yeah, interesting. So you're saying incentivizing is not all it's cracked up to. It's almost a Trojan horse. Like it'll get you into so much more trouble in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's ways to do it. Like I think maybe work with nano influencers so you don't have to pay quite as much. We have a D2C client who pays a flat fee, but then they also offer our influencers their highest commission rate on affiliate because they know that the content's going to be super high quality. So it's worth it to them. Mm-hmm. So just let them know, like, here's your link, here's your code that you can share. By the way, you're getting our highest affiliate commission. Like, you absolutely don't have to do anything above and beyond our contract. But if you want to, we're happy to compensate you for that through this. Like, and I think there's mix and matching you can do.
There's a safeguard in there, which is if the incentive is a true benefit to the creator, in this case, an influencer who's going to try affiliate, they're going to want, and even an affiliate, because I think this is a whole separate conversation, but affiliates who know what they're doing want good content out there. They know that good content, like they're not phoning it in for the money or for the affiliate fee. It won't happen. To say, here's our highest rate, it does incentivize for the content to be good because that's how you'll make the extra money, not the baseline, but the extra. So it's a yes and solution, which is smart.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, this is a whole other topic, but it's just tricky. Like, and again, we've talked about it before. The people who are doing the influencers who are doing a great job with affiliate are posting over and over and over again, and they're doing it in their stories. They're not doing it in their reels because you can't click through from a reel. They're doing it in their stories. Like, it's just a whole other setup.
Fast social, fast e-commerce, like fast fashion. Like it disappears, it's quick, but maybe that's the point, is it's not then saturating.
But it's easy to click. Like that's why Facebook performs so well when you want to be more bottom of funnel, because it's so easy to click through to buy something on Facebook, much easier than it is on Instagram.
Yeah. There's, we've wandered into a topic or a point around this, which is no matter who you're working with, the more you can support them through assets, resources, platforms, whatever they need to be successful, that's really going outside, I think, the traditional norms and thinking about community building and advocacy, loyalty building with those folks. Whereas this prognostication that the wave of the future is for everybody to have their own proprietary coffee brand or snack line or whatever, that is a money grab, for lack of a better word. Whereas saying, see you, influencer, I see what you need to do to create your content. Here are some tools, free to use, templates, blah, 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 you name it, more graphics, more visuals if you need them, whatever, to do your job better.
Yeah.
That I can get behind.
Thank you for making this come full circle, which I could not do with my Sudafed addled brain.
Did I do that? I'll take the W.
Yes. Amazing.
Perfect. Well, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. And I get to see you soon in person.
So excited.
Yes.
Yeah. What's today? Today's the 20th?
Today's the 20th.
So 11 days.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I just marked us in time now forever. People will know when we recorded this.
It's okay.
Thanks. Feel better and see you soon.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.